Alright guys, so today I'm going to be showing you how you can make Fortnite logos and thumbnails. So first what you're going to need is the software called the Blender. Links to the software will be in the description, you guys can go and check it out there. So first what you want to do is you want to open a Blender, you'll be granted with this screen. Just click General and select all of these things like this and delete. After you're done with that, you're going to go to File, Append, and then pick out your skin model. So like if I want to do a specific skin that I want to model, so I'm just going to go here and do crystal. So the way you do it is when you have your skin, when you have your model here, then you want to click on it, and then you see I have crystal and bullseye. So I'm going to do crystal, and then you should see a lot of folders. Don't select all of them, just do object, select these two. So this is going to be crystal and crystal's armature. Armature is basically like your bones and everything. So select those two and click append, and then you should see your skin right here. So right now if you look at the skin, it's white. There are no textures on it or anything, right? So the way you get your textures is you click on this little the third sphere here. It's called viewport shading. Click on that and everything should load in. So once you've done this, you can edit all the bones and everything. So to edit that is you click on the crystal AO here. That should highlight all the bones. Go to go up here where it says object mode, click that and click pose. So now you can edit all the bones and everything. So if I want to edit this arm, I can edit it. You want to click on it, and if you don't see like a sphere pop up here, you want to go to rotate, and you can rotate the arms so freely like this, the way that I'm doing it, and you can make the arm look broken like that. Like that does not look pleasant. So if you make a mistake, you can always do Control Z to undo it. You can free move it, or you can rotate it on the axes. So like this, or like that, this, that, things like that. So now I'm basically just gonna do a little model for you guys, a little time-lapse model. It's not gonna be anything extraordinary, it's just gonna be very simple. So yeah. Okay, so I just want to show you guys one more thing here. Once you've appended once you've done your pose, then what you're gonna do is, if you want to get guns, you do it the same way. So you go to, not link, my bad, you go to append, and then you can look for guns. I already have this entire file, like a 7 GB file full of everything, so I can go to guns here, and I guess I can do a deagle. So I know where the deagle is. It's somewhere in here, deagle. So I have deagle M and deagle, I have two, but I'm just going to use this one. And then the same way, you go to object and just do these two, MO and AO. Right, so now if you don't see your deagle, it's probably because A, it's too small or it's too big. So right here, I feel like this is almost the perfect size. It might be a little bit too big. So if you guys want to access the deagle, then you guys got to go to object mode to be able to move it. So yeah, you just gotta move it up, and now you can model your skin with the gun. Alright, so I've done a very basic pose here. So now, once you have done your pose, before you edit your facial structure or your facial expressions, what you want to do is you want to add a camera and figure out what camera angle you want. So I'm going to add a camera here. You just go to, you got to be in object mode, go to add, click camera, and then the camera should show up. Now you can move it here and there. Get the angle you want. And if you want to view what your camera sees, then you just click on the little camera here and you can see. So yeah, this is not really a very complicated process. It's very simple. So yeah, now I'm gonna start editing the facial structure. So what you're gonna do is, again, get the bones and everything going, click on the model and click on the AO pose mode. So if you want to get a smile going, then what you gotta do is you gotta click on any side of the lips and you gotta do a move tool. Don't do the rotate tool because that really doesn't work that well. Just use the move tool and you can get like a little smile going. Same for the eyebrows. I've only really ever used the move tool for the eyebrows. I don't really ever use the rotate tool. Alright, so now if you guys want to see what your image will look like after you've rendered it, you click on this little third sphere here. It's viewport shading 3D view rendered. This is the material preview. This is rendered. So you click on that and now as you can see, our viewport here is extremely dark and it doesn't really look that good. So to get some lighting going on here, you need HDRIs, and the way you get HDRIs is they're in the file, they're in the pack in the description, the Google file, the docs. So you guys can go ahead and the drive file, you guys can go ahead and look there. But I already have mine installed. So what you do is you gotta pull this up here like this, and then you gotta go to shader editor, world, and then when you're at world you want to delete this background, just world output. So you click add and you go and environment texture. Once you have that, just place it here and just do color to surface, click open, and then open your HDRI. So I have HDRI here, my HDRIs, so here, right here. So this is approaching storm 4K. This is a very good HDRI because what it does is instead of making it like Delta 2K, so I'll open Delta 2K for you guys this once, show you the difference here. Okay, what is this? Let me delete this real quick.
Receives all things conjoined, the past, the future.
Here, I'll add another one just to show you guys the difference. So right now, the one with Delta 2K, Delta 2 is selected. So if I go back to my render mode, you can see that there's a background. I don't want the background, so the way you get rid of it is you go to scene, you go to film, and then transparent. There you go, it's transparent. So now if you go look here, it's well lit, but there's no shadow. So if you want the shadow effect, what you do is go to add, mesh, you go to add, you go to light, and then you can go to area, and then just bring that on top of your character, give it a different sort of angle. That's up to you guys. I'm gonna just do it basic to show you guys. So now you can see I've got a little bit more light and a little bit more shadow. There's not really shadow for this, but that's okay because we're not going to be using Delta 2K. You don't really want to use this. So what you want to use is approaching storm. It's way better, to be honest. I used to use Delta 2K on my renders a lot, but I figured out approaching storm is so much better because it gives more of like an even lighting effect. I apologize for the background noise. It just started raining where I live, so if you have any background noise of rain, I do apologize for that. So just do approaching storm 4K, and yeah, that's it. So you guys can look now, and you can see it's more evenly lit. There's no more of that excessive shadow, as you would say, and I don't understand why the classes are still like this, but that's okay. That's actually fine. So this is your pose that you're going to be doing. So you want to change some settings in the scene here. So instead of Eevee, your render engine, from Eevee change it to Cycles. Cycles makes it way better. Now you can see everything is way better, as you can see, way more clear. So just do GPU compute, and your render samples really depends on what your graphics card is. Now my graphics card is pretty old. I have a GTX 960M laptop, so it's pretty old, but I like to do 1000 because that gives me the best quality, to be honest. Even though it takes longer to render, it gives me the way better quality than anything else. As you can see now, it looks way more real. You can see the hands and everything. Now this isn't my best model here, but this is really a test. You guys can work on it a little bit more. I usually take quite a lot of time to do this. So yeah, and you can go here and you can change like the eyes and everything if you want. I'm gonna just leave it like this for now. So yeah, here you can go to light path and change up a little bit of stuff. So you want to do 6 on the total, diffuse 4, glossy 4, transparency 4, transmission 4, and then go to direct light and make it 6, and indirect light make it 6 as well. Done. Now what you want to do is you want to go to object right here and go down. Actually, no, not object, here. So you should see, go to view layer properties, and then you can go to denoising, click check that, and then you can check this here. But what I have is I've downloaded an extra denoiser pack. It's called AL denoiser. I'm gonna check that and use HDR training. So that makes it way less noisy. So you can see rendering is done. It looks great. So yeah. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move it down a little bit because I don't want so much room above the head of the character. So I'm gonna move it down. Perfect. So now all you guys gotta do is hit F12 and it should render out. I'll get back to you guys when I'm done rendering this. Alright guys, now I'm done rendering my model. So this is what it looks like after render. It actually looks really good, and so we're very, very well lit. So yeah, now you're just gonna go save it. So you go here, here, and then you go save as, and then you can save it to wherever you want. I'm gonna do it Blender renders because that's where I put every single one of my renders. So I'm just gonna name it YouTube test, and then save image as, well, PNG of course. So done. Now that this is saved, I'm just gonna go ahead and close this. Just Control S just to save it. Any minor changes that I may or may not have made. Now I'm gonna go ahead and open up Photoshop. Alright, now that I have Photoshop opened up, you can do one of two things. If you're making what's it called, a thumbnail, then you you click on create new, and then if you're making a thumbnail, then what you want to do is you want to do 1920 by 1080. But if you're making a logo, in this case I am making a logo, so for this video, you're gonna want to do 500 by 500 and name it what you want. So I'm just gonna name this YouTube test, and you want to make it portrait because that's better, or that's actually what I use. And then you're just gonna let it load up. Once you've done this, you want to go to File, Place Embedded or Linked. I don't really know the difference between the both, but I just use Place. Either one doesn't really matter. Now go to your image. As you can see, this is the one that I'm gonna be using in this video. You want to enlarge it so that it's like taking up pretty much the whole thing. So it's pretty big. Like that's good enough. Right, now that it's placed, now you want to find yourself a good background. So in the Google Drive file, in the description there should be a bunch of backgrounds in the file. So here, backgrounds, so you can just go ahead and pick what you want. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and pick Haunted Hills, because actually no, I guess I'll do Loot Lake. Yeah, this works. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go and resize this a little bit, make it so that it's just this. Instead, I don't really want the house. Just gonna do the background of it like this. I want the rainbow to be there. That's actually perfect. Alright, now I'm just gonna move this under my this thing, and now what you want to do is you see the background is really I don't know, I mean the background is really clear, so you want it to have a little bit of a blur. So once you have your background selected here, you want to go to filter, click on it, and then go down to blur. Now when you're on blur, you should see this little thing, this menu, and then you want to go to Gaussian blur, and I usually do 4, and you can mess around with it and see what you like. So this is without anything, this is with a little bit of blur, this is like completely blurred, you literally can't see anything. So I like to do 4 pixels usually, because that gives me a really good effect. This is what I usually use. 3 is still good. I guess I'll do 3.5 for this one. So yeah, as you can see now, my now crystal is a lot more prominent than the background. So now once you've done that, you want to actually add or change the look of the background. So you can go to camera raw filter, same thing, select your thing, select your background, go to filter, and go to camera raw filter. Once it opens up, what you want to do is you can keep changing things here. So you can do like temperature, change the temperature. I'm going to leave the temperature at 0. I don't really mess with these two. Exposure, you can bump that up a little bit to make it brighter. Contrast, yes, of course you want to bump that up quite a bit. Highlights, I don't really like to mess around with highlights too much. Shadows, I think I'm going to bump it up just for this one because there's not a lot of shadows here and I do want it to be a little bit more. So yeah, whites and blacks, I just leave it like that. Clarity, you do want to bump that up like a little bit. And dehaze. Vibrance and saturation, do go about it as you feel, because whatever color you feel like works for you, go ahead and do that. So I'm gonna go ahead, because this, I'm only really using this part of it, right? So I'm looking at this part, I'm not really looking at the house, and now it looks really vibrant. So I'm just gonna click OK, and you can see it's way better now. It's way more bright and vibrant. So now you want to do the same thing with your skin, make it way more bright. So same thing, go to camera raw filter after selecting it, and then you can go exposure, bump it up a little bit, make it brighter. Contrast, sure, why not, a little bit, give it 10 I guess. And you want to bump up the clarity on your skins and the dehaze a little bit. The clarity makes it look really cool, like look, it makes it way better. I'm gonna do clarity at 45, and dehaze, I guess that works. Actually no, I think I'll bump it down to 40. There, that's way better. Vibrance, you can bump that up, and saturation obviously, because you don't want those basic colors, right? You want some contrast to the colors and everything. So saturation, see, like now the skin looks way cooler, way better. You can see that. Alright guys, so once you're done with your texturing and everything, or like your camera raw filter adjustments and everything, once you have done that and blurred out the background or done whatever you need to do, you're gonna want to create another layer like this, just like that. You want to bring it up here, and then you want to make it you want to go here to the normal tab. You're gonna want to make it overlay, and then after that you want to go to the hard round brush in Photoshop, right click, make sure the hardness is 0, and now you can add light to the parts that you think you want there to be more light, or you want it to be brighter. Right, so you can add brightness and stuff in places to make the skin look way brighter. So I'm gonna add some right here. Actually, that's a little bit too much. I'm just gonna get rid of this a little bit. Perfect. I'm gonna just add it on one side because like the sun is gonna be on this side, so this is gonna be like lit up more. Alright, that is perfect. So that's the skin. Now to render or to export this, it's actually really simple. Just go to File, Export, Export As, and then you can do PNG or Quick PNG or anything like that. So I'm just gonna go Export All, and Channels, Pictures, and Thumbnails. So this is where I have all my thumbnails and everything. Alright guys, so that was basically it. If you guys enjoyed the video, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe, because that really does help out the channel. And yeah, that's basically it. Peace.